Good day, race fans! I'm Unsilent, and we're back with more Grand Prix 2, the 1996 racing sim that brings us back to 1994 and that year's Formula One World Championship. This time out, it's part 14, round 14, the last round but two for the European Grand Prix from the Circuito de Jerez in Spain. The European Grand Prix. Fun fact, this year's European Grand Prix was a last-minute substitute. They were supposed to go to Argentina for the Argentine Grand Prix, but that was cancelled because the circuit wasn't ready in time, so the all-purpose last-minute replacement was Jerez. They kind of did the same thing in 1997, the final round of the 97 World Championship was at Jerez. It was originally scheduled to be at Estoril, but that track wasn't updated in time. So let's take a look at the track map here now for Jerez. You can see the gray lines on the track down at the bottom and then up near the top there, just above the checkered flag. That was the route that we ran in the F1 2013 version of this track. Now they've got a longer run from Dry Sack, down on the left side of the screen. Dry Sack had the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit. And they've got this little Mickey Mouse chicane here to slow the cars down that they introduced after 1990. The Ayrton Senna chicane. That, well, I don't like it. It's really slow and really tight and not a whole heck of a lot of fun. Kind of destroys the flowing nature of the track. But I do believe they got rid of that Mickey Mouse little chicane for 1997. So here we are, one flying lap around the Jerez Circuit. Up onto turn 1, the Expo 92 curve. Take that one in first gear before the slowest turn on the track, the Michelin hairpin, turn number 2, down to about 50 miles an hour rather. Third turn 3, turn 4, take them flat. Charge down to turn 5. Get down to about second gear, it's uphill, it's off camber, it just wants to spit you right out to the outside, so you gotta watch your understeer. Dry Sack, turn 6, the hairpin, the best overtaking opportunity on the track. Just ask Jacques Villeneuve and Michael Schumacher. We'll go flat through turn 7 up to turn 8, about second, third gear. It looks really wide and really fast, but is really deceptive. The double right at turns 9 and 10, about 70 miles per hour each. Again, you want to push a little harder through there. And now into the Senna chicane, very slow, right, left, and back to the right. Be careful not to push too hard and run off there as we go through turn 12 Ferrari. And turn 13, the Ducatos hairpin as it was known then. Now it's the Jorge Lorenzo hairpin. And then we charge back to the line to complete that lap in 1:28.4. A lot of fast flowing sections. Just, I don't like that chicane. Now let's take a look at the World Drivers' standings. David Coulthard has still won the World Drivers' Championship. That hasn't changed. But on back is a battle for second. Schumacher, Hill, Alesi, and myself is Eddie Irvine, all within 8 points of that second spot. Hill, 1 point off of Schumacher. I'm 2 points behind Alesi. So a lot of battling happening then. The other battle, keep in mind, for P7, Katayama and Häkkinen both tied on 9 points. I think 1 point's finish over the last 3 races is going to win that spot for them. That carries over to the World Constructors Championship because their teams, Tyrrell and McLaren respectively, are tied at 9 points. And that's the battle for 5th in the World Constructors Championship. And then once again at the top, Williams has won. Ferrari pretty safe in P2. And then 3 points between Benetton and my team, Jordan Hart, for 3rd place in the World Constructors Championship. There's a battle worth watching as we progress on through the remainder of the season. On to Friday qualifying. Here's my first flying lap through that Senna chicane, the left, back to the right, and just a little wide through the last right as we get 2 wheels onto the grass, so that's going to compromise this lap quite badly as we go through Ducatos. And hit the accelerator, we see the clock creep up, and it's going to be 1:29.4. Which is good enough for P1 there because I was the first person to set a time on this day. Now, it wasn't just this lap. I was having a lot of trouble kind of getting a feel for this. Here is the Michelin hairpin, turn 2, bollocksed up entirely and going right off. Then turn 5, I told you it likes to spit you out wide and just get on the throttle too hard and it just spits you out into the gravel. If you wonder what happens when you try and cut a corner in Grand Prix 2, well, I cut the center chicane, and yeah, the old black flag and speed limiter on the car for an arbitrary length of time until it spits me back out at full speed through the Ferrari curve. On my second flying lap, good start, 0.6 improvement over my previous flyer, and then another 0.6 through the middle sector of the lap as we stay on board through turn 10. Get a lot of speed through there, now into the Senna chicane. I keep wanting to call it a hairpin, it's that slow. Very careful through the last part of it. Keep it flat through Ferrari, and then we come and charge down to Lorenzo. Down to about 50 miles per hour. On the throttle, we're already well ahead of our last lap, and to the line, it's a 1:26.1. That's enough to be my fastest lap on Friday, my fastest lap of the weekend. Right here on Friday qualifying. So we aren't going to hold you up any longer with the qualifying highlights, because we're just going to go straight to the starting grid of the European Grand Prix from Jerez. 17 laps, 1/4 race distance. I'm on pole as Eddie Irvine in the Jordan Hart, alongside Michael Schumacher, who had the pole for the actual 94 European Grand Prix. On row number 2, it's David Coulthard in the first of the Williams Renaults, and alongside Jean Lacey in the Scuderia Ferrari. We're talking about that battle for P2 in the World Drivers' Championship. And then all four of us are in the top 5 as Damon Hill completes the set. In P5, Mika Hakkinen, well, we know he's looking to improve in the World Drivers' Championship. P6, the last of the points-paying positions, but right behind him, his rival Ukio Katayama in the Tyrrell Yamaha. Alongside him, Gerhard Berger in the Ferrari. Good qualifying for Johnny Morbidelli in the Footwork Ford. Position number 9, the inside of row 5, alongside Pierluigi Martini in the first of the Minardi Fords. Johnny Herbert, we know he's always dangerous when he qualifies up high. P11 for him. And Andrea de Cesaris in the Sauber Mercedes alongside on the outside of row 6. Row 7, Olivier Panis. The Ligier Renault's been showing some speed these last few rounds. It's looking mighty impressive. Alongside Eric Coma in the LaRousse Ford. Michele Alboreto in the second of the Minardis on row 8. And alongside him, Mark Blundell. Heinz Harald Frentzen, the second of the Mercedes-powered Saubers, alongside Jos Verstappen in P18. P19, that's who I'm looking for, is Eric Bernard. And Christian Fittipaldi in second of the Footworks, a pretty good qualifying by his standards, in position number 20. P21, Martin Brundle in the second of the McLarens, alongside Alex Zanardi in the second Lotus. Olivier Beretta in the second LaRousse in P23. And oh, poor Rubens! I'm in P1, he's in P24, all the way back there. He had a bad Friday, he had a bad Saturday, just never had the pace all weekend. I'm not entirely sure what the heck happened with him there to suddenly fall off the pace. And on the back row of the grid, it's David Brabham in the Simtek Ford, and shotgun on the field in the Pacific Ilmore, Jean-Paul Belmondo starting yet again in P26. The warning horn goes, the engines come to life, it's race time in Grand Prix 2. 4 red lights, the revs come up, we bring the noise, and green, green, green for the European Grand Prix, and I get off to an uncharacteristically good start as we go into Curva Expo 92 in P1 while they were all jockeying for position behind me. Let's take a look at that on the action replay. Look behind me. Don't look at me. Look behind me. 2 rows, 3 wide. It's like a restrictor plate race. It's NASCAR. The big winner, Damon Hill from P5, just hugs the inside and finds himself in P2 by the time we get through turn 1 and holds it through turn 2. Demoting Schumacher and Coulthard down a position, but Coulthard didn't wait long. That same lap he gets by Schumacher for P3, and there he is coming up on Hill, and by him for P2 into Drysack on lap number 2. As we look at my mirrors here as we complete lap 2, I've got the trolley train going as we're completing this lap. I've got Coulthard and then Hill and Schumacher, and just behind it you can see a Lacey too as we go through the center hairpin. And oh, I looked in the mirrors a little too long and have got 2 wheels off as I slot into P4 behind Schumacher. And we take a look at that replay. I kind of messed up the first part of that, got my rhythm all wrong, and overcooked it into last right, and just chop off the nose of a Lacey there into turn 12. As we come up through turn 13, Lorenzo Ducato's caught it what you will. I call that slipstream OP as we go down the front straight ahead of Schumacher into Expo 92. Oh no, he's coming back around the outside, and he turns down on me into turn 1, but we come out no worse for wear. Another look at the replay.
That didn't work. That didn't work, Michael. You hit the wrong part of him, my friend.
I'm well behind, but I've got the inside line. He just turns down on me, try and chop me off. This was more of a dry sack 97 move than it was a Expo 92 in 1994 move. As we continue on lap 5, I'm hunting downhill, just overcook it a little bit into the braking zone, so I let him by. It wouldn't have been fair to take that position, as I completely bollocks that up. But when you look at it on the replay, it doesn't seem so bad. Just a light little touch, but I was a lot closer on the replay than I was in the cockpit there. So just an interesting little perspective, how that shifts, how you look at a move there. That breaks me out of my rhythm and lets Schumacher by into turn 8. That's not a passing zone. Michael doesn't care. Dives up under me. But at the end of that lap, we're good out of Lorenzo. We're going to draft him and drag him in a little late dive out of Schumacher's way. He made a little juke to the right there. We'll show that on the replay. Schumacher juke to the right as I thought he was fading over to the white line. No, I had to get out of the way real fast. We'll show it on the slow-mo replay. Real fancy this time out. An emergency move. I was not expecting to have to move over that far to avoid running into the back of Schumi there. We continue on right up on the back of Hill, just on his gearbox. We'll sniff up the inside into Michelin, not happening. And we're going to run on him out of 5 down to 6, and dry sack aren't going to risk it under braking this time. We're going to outbrake him massively and outdraft him down the straight. As we take a look at it once again, I almost outbroke myself into here. But, and you can see Hill just, it looks like he's going to sniff up the inside, but there's no room there for that to happen. Lap 8, down to Ducatos. Nope! I overcook it into the final hairpin and throw away 2 positions and almost another one to Alesi. Every time I make a mistake, Alesi's just a half second too slow to capitalize. So now once again out of 5, another good run with Slipstream OP, down to dry sack, under the brakes. Oh, I overcooked it. And Hill goes through, and I go back through as Hill's line was compromised through dry sack as we go and take the lead, or take third again. One more look at that replay. Oh, I was on the white line there too. I didn't realize I was that close to almost going off there as we take the position back, as we swap the position twice in that same turn. Here, once again, break my rhythm and end up going off and paying for dearly all the way down to P5. My worst position of the race thus far, with only 8 laps remaining and 4 seconds behind Alesi for P4. We've got championship to think of as well. His championship points. Takes a couple laps to get up to Alesi, but we get by him on the straight into turn 6. Again, going just a little deep. I have my braking zone measured out perfectly for no draft, but with draft I'm out a little bit. Now into turn 5, we're going to go up the inside of Hill. That's not a passing zone. It is now, I say. Take a look at it again. Had the slipstream, and Hill gave us all the room in the world and just kind of left it open for us to get by. That was the best we could do. I could not break away from Hill as the leaders pulled away from me. I think I burned up all I had trying to get by everybody a few times. And so it was P3, not a bad result. But after that qualifying, you thought, that could have gone a lot better. As Hill saying there, I could have had you on the next lap, mate. You were falling well behind. That I was, as we take a look. Oops, let's ignore that one. As we take a look at the race results. I was only half a second ahead of Hill. And 12 seconds behind Schumacher, 15 behind Coulthard as he wins yet another race. I won a race, Alesi's won 2, Schumacher won 1. I think Coulthard is on 10 wins from 14 races. He is the greatest video game driver in the history of the universe. And as we carry on down through the list, Damon Hill, you saw he was right behind me in P4, Jean Alesi P5, Gerhard Berger gets to P6, a half second ahead of Mika Hakkinen. So keeping Hakkinen out of the points yet again. He needs that point. He's behind Katayama on countback. Katayama had a transmission failure, didn't finish. as we go on down the race results. Barrichello made his way to 20th. Not a particularly good day for Rubens here. Just struggling all weekend with the Jerez Circuit. So, well, seeing my results and how many mistakes I made, I can sympathize greatly with that. Onto the World Driver Standings, Schumacher pulls out 3 points on Hill, a little safer in second place, as I pull level with Jean Lacey at 4th, but Lacey's 2 wins to my 1 means I'm behind on countback there. But I think I can kiss P2 goodbye, as we have fallen well behind Schumacher, now 10 points a whole race with only 2 races left to go. And as I mentioned, Katayama and Hakkinen level on points, Katayama ahead on countback. World Constructors Championship, again, a little more distance. Benetton pulls it into Ferrari, dives into their lead. They pulled away from us at Jordan as well. So I'm not liking our chances to get to P3 and the podium of the Constructors' Championship. Once again, Tyrrell and McLaren, no points scored. Again, level on points, and Tyrrell leading on countback from Katayama second at the Pacific Grand Prix. Round 15, the penultimate round, the last round but one. We will go to Japan for the Japanese Grand Prix at the Suzuka Circuit. Not much has changed on Suzuka. I think they've changed the pit in, and I think they may have reprofiled that final chicane. But other than that, I think it's pretty much the same circuit then as it is now, especially since Cram didn't include all the, 1994, we need to haphazardly throw in some tire chicanes to slow the cars down, much to the benefit of this game. So how will I do? I'm not rating my chances particularly well, considering my troubles here at Jerez and the keyboard controls that I'm using, even though those are supposed to be the best ones for Grand Prix 2. But how will it turn out? Well, we'll just have to come back in a couple of weeks and find out. Just 2 more races to go in 1994, and that second to last one is next time on Grand Prix 2. So until then, I'm Unsilent. Thanks very much for joining me. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you're new. Share on social media. Follow on social media. The social media handle is Unsilent on Air for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr. Don't forget you can check out more Grand Prix 2 in the playlist. It's on the screen, in the description down below, and more videos anytime on the channel page. And until the next time, I'm Unsilent. Thanks very much for joining me. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next time.